Islam, Islam, Islam. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Can we all stand and face the east while we do our divine Moorish American prayer? We face the east because that means going within. So it's just going within yourself. So we face the east because we're in the west. We put up 2 fingers on the right, 5 on the left with our heels touching one another. We're standing on our square. So you would just make your heels touch. You put 2 fingers on the right, 5 up on the left, heels touching one another. Repeat after me. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. Islam.
Islam.
Oh, is it too bright? Okay. Let me
It's a
turn
little
the.
bit.
I might have to turn it because I think my. Hold on. Dang, y'all. I'm really messing up. Hold
No,
on
take
one
your time.
second. Let me move you right here.
Take your
Is that
time.
better?
Oh, much better. Yes.
Much better. All right. Islam. Islam. So first, I would like to give the recitation of the divine constitution and bylaws. Salvation, Allah, unity. The Moorish Science Temple of America, the divine constitution and bylaws. The Grand Sheik and the chairman. Can we place our hand over our heart while I read the recitation of the laws? The Grand Sheik and the chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The Assistant Grand Sheik is to assist the Grand Sheik in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest because on a Friday, the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday, the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God, Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Islam. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. No member is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are a part and partial of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and partial of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, Black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and partial of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his father God, Allah. Noble Drew Ali, the founder. The Moorish Science Temple of America, home office of Noble Drew Ali, Chicago, Illinois, USA. Islam. Now for the additional laws. I'm going to read the first 5, and we're going to give honors to 6 and 7 because that is actually in the first part of our divine constitution and bylaws. Islam. The additional laws for Moorish Americans by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Salvation, Allah, unity. Act 1. The Grand Sheikh is the governing head of our temple. All business of said temple must be approved by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali before being acted upon by any member. Let it be finance, property, or any line of life that will cause the member to sacrifice finance, that will cause the support of any group of members. Any former officer that violates these laws is subject to be removed from his office under a heavy restriction, etc., by the Prophet or the Grand Sheikh. Act 2. All members are to attend their adept meetings and their public meetings promptly. If a member is found standing around on their meeting period, shall be fined 50 cents on the first case, and on the second will be fined $1, which will go on your emergency fund. If member is working, his monthly dues must be paid. And if he has money in the bank, he must subscribe for as much as he is able to the Moorish Uplifting Fund, because it takes finance to uplift the nation. Islam. It is the Act 3. It is the lawful and divine duty of every good member, if he is able in finance, to aid me in saving the nation. And if he does not, he is an enemy to the cause of uplifting his own people, and justice must catch you. Let it be he or she, according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, as I have the power invested in my hands, and I will have to enforce the law in order to save the nation. Act 4. All members, while up making a public speech, must not use any assertion against the American flag or speak radical against the church or any member of any organized group, because we are to teach love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Act 5. All members must promptly attend their meetings and send their children to Sunday school, and the teacher must confirm himself to the questionnaire, and let every member exercise his 5 senses who is able to do so, because out from your Sunday school comes the guiders of the nation. Islam. And I will give honor to Act 6 and Act 7.
Islam.
Islam, 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 Islam family. Dr. Hernandez, do you want to start with anything before? Do you want to
You
speak
can
on
go ahead and
anything? Give me a second. I got to turn off this
sure, for sure.
thing.
Yeah, you can go ahead and run the measure. I have a little presentation. We're just going to touch on a little bit of civics, and we'll build as you touch on the lesson for today.
Okay, so we're going to build as I touch on this lesson for today, and we're going to have some civics involved in this class, all right? So we can get some understanding on what that's all about and how we are connected both religiously and civically. So we're a religious and civic movement. So this is universal, it's all in one, there's no separation. Islam. So now I would
Islam.
like to read from our Circle 7. And I know I've probably done this, but as I was saying earlier, Dr. Hernandez, this one is going out to my friend Phrase. So I
Yeah.
really feel like I needed to come from this chapter because I had to even come to realization for myself about some stuff. Islam.
Islam.
All right. Islam. So I'm coming from the Divine Instructions from the Holy Prophet. Chapter 4 is the death and burial of Elizabeth. Matheno's lessons, the ministry of death. When John was 12 years old, his mother died, and neighbors laid her body in a tomb among her kindred in the Hebron burying ground, and near to Zacharias' tomb. And John was deeply grieved. He wept. Matheno said, "It is not well to weep because of death. Death is no enemy of man. It is a friend who, when the work of life is done, just cuts the cords that binds the human boat to earth, that it may sail on smoother seas. No language can describe a mother's worth, and yours was tried and true, but she was not called hence until her tasks were done. The cause of death are always for the best, for we are solving problems there as well as here, and one is sure to find himself where he can solve his problems best. It is selfish that makes us wish to call again to earth departed souls. Then let your mother rest in peace. Just let her noble life be strength and inspiration unto you. A crisis in your life has come, and you must have a clear conception of the work that you are called to do. The sages of the ages call you harbinger. The prophets look to you and say, he is Elijah come again. Your mission here is that of a harbinger, for you will go before the Messiah's face to pave his way and make the people ready to receive their king. This readiness is purity of heart. None but the pure in heart can recognize the king. To teach men to be pure in heart, you must yourself be pure in heart and word and deed. In infancy, the vow for you was made, and you became a Nazarite. The razor shall not touch your face nor head, and you shall not taste wine nor fiery drinks. Men need a pattern for their lives. They love to follow, not to lead. The man who stands upon the corners of the paths and points the way, but does not go, is just a pointer, and a block of wood can do the same. The teacher treads the way. On every span of ground, he leaves his footprints, clearly cut, which all can see and be assured that he, their master, went that way. That's an instruction. I just want to speak on that real quick, Dr. Hernandez, because I asked the question to someone, should we be looking for the footprints that are cut, to follow these footprints, to know that our masters went that way? Or is it important to know the dirt that's been done to the masters?
That's deep, sis.
That's deep, right?
That is deep.
So the answer came back to me that we just need to follow the instructions. But that's an instruction. Is that not an instruction?
That is an
Number
instruction.
15,
But
Islam.
just remember that we're also instructed to be able to identify our enemies of the temple and of the prophet. So
I am.
at the same time, we have to know who we're dealing with, because the prophet was dealing with snakes and people who was, you know, unscrupulous, just like we are today.
Mhm.
So yeah, they're both instructions,
They're
but
both
you are
instructions.
100% correct.
Islam.
Yeah. Islam.
Thank you for that. So see, this is why I say teachers, real teachers. That's one of my real teachers. So that's very important when you're able to go to a teacher and ask these questions, and they're able to give them to you, not just throw an answer at you, because that will turn you off where you like, that's okay, I'm good. Maybe I shouldn't be here. But thank you, Dr. Hernandez. Thank you, Sheikh Hernandez. Islam. So
Islam.
the teacher treads the way on every span of ground. He leaves his footprints clearly cut, which all can see and be assured that he, their master, went that way. That's important because that's the only way we will know and be for sure that we know and stop going off all this belief and maybe. But that's how you're going to know, because once you dig into the way that they went, start reading things based off of why they did these certain things, we can see they really went that way. That's important. Islam, men comprehend the inner life by what they see and do. They come to Allah through ceremonies and forms. And so when they would make men know that sins are washed away by purity in life, a right symbolic may be introduced. In water, wash the bodies. In water, wash the bodies of the people who would turn away from sin and strive for purity in life. The rite of cleansing is a preparation rite, and they who thus are cleansed comprise the temple of purity. And you shall say, you men of Israel, hear, reform, and wash. Become the sons of purity, and you shall be forgiven. Hold up. I'm going to go back to that one too. I must have missed this one, y'all. As many times I've read this chapter. Wait a minute.
Break it down,
And
sis.
you shall say, you men of Israel, hear, reform, and wash. Become the sons of purity, and you shall be forgiven. Islam. This rite of cleansing and this temple are but symbolic of the soul, which does not come with outward show, but is the temple within. So that going to the east and going within, that gives me something to go off of. Wow.
It's a right symbolic.
It's a right symbolic, all right. But to the soul,
That's
it
right.
does not come with outward show, but is the temple within.
So when we
It's
when we
love.
say right symbolic, we just meaning symbolic ritual.
Okay. Right symbolic means symbolic ritual. Islam. You are to teach that men must wash. So you must lead the way. Oh, excuse me. My apologies. Go back to 23. Now you may never point the way and tell the multitudes to do what you have never done, but you must go before and show the way. You are to teach that men must wash. So you must lead the way. Your body must be washed, symbolic of the cleansing of the soul. John said, what need I wait? May I go at once and wash? Matheno said, tis well. And they went down to the Jordan ford and east of Jericho, just where the host of Israel crossed. When first they entered Canaan, they tarried for a time. Matheno taught the harbinger, and he explained to him the inner meaning of the cleansing rite and how to wash himself and how to wash the multitude. And in the river Jordan, John was washed. Then they returned unto the wilderness. Now in Engedi's hills, Matheno's work was done, and he and John went down to Egypt. They rested until they reached the temple of Saqqara in the valley of the Nile. Some of these words and things that I'm mentioning, you guys should look them up. It's really like to go in and see what the temple of Saqqara is. Like, go and see what that is, because that has like so much meaning to it. Beautiful, beautiful. But go, you could look it up to see exactly what it is. For many years, Matheno was a master in this temple of the brotherhood. And when he told about the life of John and of his mission to the sons of men, the Hierophant with joy received the harbinger, and he was called the brother Nazareth. For 18 years, John lived and wrought within these temple gates. And here he conquered self, became a mastermind, and learned the duties of the harbinger. Islam. So why I say that I dedicate this to my friend, not only is Matheno, chapter 4 is a builder number, so that's foundation anyway. Matheno has to do with math, calculus. If you look up even the history of Matheno, the name and all that, it goes into calculus, so it has to do with math. But my friend's name was King David Matthew Buchanan. That was his birth name that was given to him. And when I first met him, it was something, because I would go, King David? Wait a minute, like the Bible, King David? Thought he was playing with me, but for real, that's his name. We just called him Big Phrase because he was a big guy. So yesterday, as I was purging myself and crying, and I opened my circle 7, and what does he send me to? He sends me to John the Harbinger. And in there, it says David's Cave, and it talks about a king. And all I seen was them two names first before I even paid attention to the chapter itself. So it told me he's still right there with me. He's speaking to me. So even though in his absence of his flesh, his spirit is still around me. It still speaks to me. Even when I got up to say, what should I speak about today? 4 is a chapter I'm tending to always turn to too. But understanding what that really means and what that looks like. Because even though he's gone, he's able to help me so much more. Like my dad and him. I'm just looking at death so differently. And I'm so grateful. So grateful. I experienced something like this at 23, taking care of my mother in law dying of breast cancer. And I took care of her up until the day she passed away. I had to even teach the doctors in the hospital how to bathe her because I was the only one that really knew how to give her a bath without cracking her spine. Because I didn't even know her spine was as thin as a toothpick until she went to the hospital and they was like, how you been taking care of this lady? She was guiding me and teaching me the whole time. So recognizing a king in so many ways when they come to you to teach you these things. My friend Fraser was always in the hospital. I always seemed to call him when he was getting out or when he needed to go. I was somehow, some way. It's just like the way our communication worked. He was a producer, so we didn't get to always talk to each other because he's in the studio till wee hours of the night and morning. So when we did, we like, hey, how you doing? Check up on each other. So I just have to say that name and just understanding and just coming into alignment. I'm just saying to myself, wow, he was showing up to show me some things. And he really did. He showed up to show me a lot of things and teach me some things. And I'm grateful for him. So this today, I dedicate this chapter to him. And I'm just grateful that I'm able to see that even through physical death, that the best part is the spiritual part that just, man, it feels good because now he's everywhere all the time, all at once. I could talk to him whenever I want to. I could feel his energy whenever I want to. I don't have to just pick up the phone anymore. I have to think just through the phone. I'm able to communicate with my friend, with any of my people that have passed on and transcended. So this felt good, even to get up today and listen to some gospel and cry a little bit about it and know it's going to be all right. Because God trying to tell all of us something. And we all need to open our ears to hear and not the ones that are just attached to your face. But literally listen because he's speaking through people, through things, just everything around you. He's showing up. So listen, be aware. Islam. So now I'm about to turn it over to Dr. Hernandez. While I come on TikTok and engage a little, I don't never see a chat over here on Facebook. But I'm gonna give y'all some love over here and see what comes over in the chat over here. But I hope you guys can hear Dr. Hernandez. Raise your hand if you can.
Islam,
Or
Islam,
hit a one.
Islam. So what I did, I don't know if you can see the background here, Sister Latte, but that's
I can see it.
let me see if I can get a better view. So that's the Temple of Karnak.
The Temple of Karnak. Okay.
Uh-huh.
He's showing
Um,
us the Temple of Karnak, y'all. I don't know
and
what that might look like. I wish
and
I
this
could do
is
one with my background.
and that's the Temple of Saqqara here. Let me see if I can get it a little bit clearer.
Hey, cousin Rachel. Greetings. Welcome to the meeting.
But the reason why I put this up, because you mentioned that first, and then the Temple of Karnak. This is where um, John and many other have practiced that sacred rite for thousands of years. That bathing ritual that you just um, spoke of. In Christianity, they speak of it as like baptism. In Islam, you hear them say wudu, the washing,
Voodoo. The
wudu.
washing. Voodoo. Did you hear that, Rachel? I think she could hear you. Yes. Okay. She can hear you. All right.
So it's the same name for it in ancient Egypt. So in this pool here that you see in the background, this is where John was bathing people originally. This is where he learned that.
Oh, Islam. All
And
right.
this is what you see in Washington, D.C. At the what is it called? The Temple of where they have the, I forget the name of what they call it in DC.
The obelisk, the white thing with
The obelisk, and you
the
see
water in the middle.
the pool out front.
Yes.
So this is a reconstruction of that.
You think, did you hear that? Whoa. Now you just blew my mind with that. All right, wait a minute. Hold up while I get a pen. I need to write that down. Hold on a second. Okay, here we go. Okay. Oh man, that one's not working. Dang it. Go
Yeah,
ahead,
no,
Dr. Hernandez. I'm gonna let you continue. I'm gonna look for my pen.
no worries, no worries. I'm gonna share my screen really quick. Let me see here. Let's see. What screen is this? Oh, Windows. Share. Alrighty. Let's see. All right, family. So today I just wanted to uh, first let me just send some honors to Sister Latay for that recitation. Would like to extend honors to anyone who is listening or watches this. For a man honors man, he honors his father God Allah. We also want to send honors to your brother who's sailed on to smoother seas.
Islam, Islam.
And that's what these lessons are for us to learn how to deal with these situations in life and really understand what's going on or get a better grips to what's going on. Because sometimes these things catch us off guard and really can do a number on us. So we have to, you know, stay with the lessons so we know how to emotionally move because, we actually control our emotions. Although it seems like emotions control us, which they will if you allow them. But we
Mhm.
have the control of those emotions. And if you look at a lot of our ancient societies, they don't do a whole lot of mourning and crying long. They do a little bit, but for the most part, it's a celebration. And the first time I actually got to witness that was when my aunt passed a few years ago, and she did not want a funeral. Her will was like, we partying. And we partied all night. We went to her favorite Jamaican club, reggae club in Chicago,
Uh-huh.
danced all night. And that's all she wanted. So, that was a different experience from what I've experienced at every other funeral type
Yeah,
situation. And after that, I really had a better appreciation for this chapter, you know,
Islam,
because I
Islam.
got to see that in real time. And the fact that she was so conscious and aware that she was like, don't come crying over here. I lived a
Wow.
great life. Let's celebrate. So, yeah, with that, I just wanted to read this because we're supposed to read these at every meeting. And I think this is important because it kind of sets the tone for maybe the civics conversation.
Mm-hmm.
It might be a little small. Hopefully, everybody can see that clearly. Prophet
Is it
warns all Muslims to be read in every meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical speeches while at work, in their homes, or on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings toward the temple or the prophet or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the laws as laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is the holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Drew Ali. And if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet, therefore, sending out the divine plea for all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the Prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Peace, Noble Drew Ali.
It's long. Peace. Peace is long.
So let's just go right in. I'm gonna see if I can make this look, there we go. So civics, right? This is a very important topic for Morris, and the reason why I wanted to really highlight this today,
Mm-hmm.
specifically, is that we have a lot of people in the Moorish diaspora, if you will, that use this word civics and do not qualify it or give it clarity to the people who which they're instructing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so most people who you know are in our, I guess you can say, in the outskirts of our movement, use this word to try to push paperwork,
Okay.
simply said. But let's look at the definition of this so we can understand what it is first, and then we're going to dive a little bit deeper.
All
So,
right.
civics is the study of the rights and duties of citizenship. And just so you know, sis, you can stop me at any point so we can get clarity, ask questions. If somebody in the chat has questions, just let me know and we'll address it.
Okay. You got any questions, Rachel, about his definition on civics? Did you hear it?
Yes, no questions. I understand completely.
Okay. Perfect. Ready.
Okay, so we're going to go a little bit deeper into it. So this is a little bit better definition. The branch of political science that deals with civic affairs and the rights and duties of citizens. American Heritage Dictionary of the English Language, 5th edition. Civics is the study of the theoretical and practical aspects of citizenship, its rights and duties, the duties of citizens to each other as members of a political body and to the government. It includes the study of civil law and civil code, and the study of government with attention to the role of citizens as opposed to external factors in the operation and oversight of government. Now, if you notice anything about the civics word and definition, is that it continues to reverberate citizens. And what you'll
Mm.
find on the outskirts of our movement is that people will say, oh, we're not citizens, right? But it's
Mm-hmm.
clear throughout all of our lessons on our nationality card that we are citizens, period.
It's long. It's long.
Some of those notions are derived from a case, the Dred Scott case. That's a famous Supreme Court case. Most people don't understand that. And we can actually do a whole class on that one day if people have more questions regarding our citizenship,
Okay.
etc. But that's where
Okay.
the confusion stems from. But the fact is,
Okay.
we've been citizens from day one. From the inception of this
Mhm.
government, we've always been citizens. We've always voted. Many people believe that we didn't start voting until the 60s, but
Mm.
this is a lie. Some
Right.
people some people would be like, "Oh, we started voting in the 20s." That's also incorrect. We've been voting since day one. And
Since day
even
one.
and even as chattel slaves, we were able to vote. That's why there
Mm.
was a three-fifths clause put in the Constitution for those who were enslaved, because they didn't want the slaves to take over, because voting is still power, right?
Right.
Had
All
full,
right.
if they had full voting rights, then you know they could have changed some things. But that's another conversation. So I'll continue.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So let's read this here. Let me stretch the screen out just a bit.
All
The U.S.
right.
Constitution does not have a list of responsibilities, but it does create a government that can't work if people don't participate. Okay. So we said,
Mm.
so we said, when it comes to civics, it's the right and responsibilities of the citizens. And this
Mm-hmm.
here says the United States Constitution does not have a list of responsibilities, but it does create a government. And this goes out to all of the people that say the government is a corporation. That is also another misunderstanding of what's going on here. You can't have a government underneath a corporate anything. That's not how hierarchy works with government. The government does have corporations, several of them under the name United States, but those are not the government that the US Constitution creates. So that's, again, we could do a whole class on that if we need to dissect that.
Okay. All right.
So, but it does create a government that can't work if people do not participate. Voting in federal elections and serving on a jury are two responsibilities just for US citizens, and they require participation. What if nobody showed up to vote? Or what if they voted without understanding the issues? How could you have a jury trial if everyone refused to jury duty? Okay. These are responsibilities US citizens have to both society and the government. The Constitution also gives Congress the power to make laws, and all US residents have a responsibility to follow the law. Okay. So this is important. Like, so we have a say in every step of our government structure, right? The only thing that we don't really have direct impact on, and that's simply a point of legislation, is the whole, what do they call it? The electoral college. So that's the only situation where the citizens are not actually fully involved. And that's something, again, we can change through legislation. But again, that's for another day.
Okay. To say, really? All right, let's go.
Yeah, but if you do have questions, just let me know. We'll touch on anything you want.
All right, cool.
So you got a call coming in. Okay.
No, that wasn't me. That was somebody on the other one.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, so let's look at Amendment 1. And I'm going to jump around just a little bit. I'm going to touch on a few different things. I want to kind of paint a picture here, but again, stop me at any moment. Amendment 1, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Amendment 1 is so strong that a lot of the challenges and ills that people face can directly be solved through activating what is right here. You know, again, if you have an issue with the government, right, says you can petition the government for a redress of grievances. Right? So we're in the Moorish Science Temple of America, and it says Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Right? So this is the freedom of religion we talk about. Right? So no one can stop us from practicing our religion. We are free to do so. And in this country, this is where all the power lies. So those who don't understand that, the power is either in your religion or in your politics. So that's the two places where the power lies in this country, beyond just a simple dollar bill, right? And again, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press. The prophet told us that we have to control our media, set up different forms of media. This is what we're doing today by doing our class publicly and live. This is a form of media. So when you have people out here who are putting out disinformation, misinformation, right? Though that's a type of propaganda. But this right here, correcting it and putting out the correct information regarding these topics, this is also propaganda. Okay? Propaganda is not a bad word. It's just about controlling your story and your narrative. right?
Hmm.
The difference is we're putting up things that people can actually check out, go and see, and verify. Most of the things that the ones on the outskirts are teaching are things that you cannot verify. It's very vague. You'll be looking forever trying to find something that'll verify it. You can't cross reference it. And when you do, you'll see that it's incorrect.
Islam. So when you say that, Dr. Hernandez, Islam Sheikh,
Yes.
when you're saying that, because this is why it's so important to have the two so that you can understand it, because it is, I'm sure a lot of people on TikTok do see that. It's a lot of paper pushers, a lot of them. So this one is so important to that. So I hope that everyone was able to catch what he said, because we do have a lot of people out here that's pushing this paper narrative, and they are really causing issues and troubles in people's lives because people think that they're able to, oh, I can denounce this and do that. Now you better stay a citizen, because honey, if they tell you, I mean, if they came up in your house and you talk, I ain't no citizen, they gonna send you somewhere, ain't they, Dr. Hernandez?
Yeah, it's here's the thing, like they can, if they want to give up their citizenship, they can. There's a
But is that
process.
a smart thing to do?
Oh no.
All right, I didn't think.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing about that. So most people don't know how to do that, first off. And I'm not one to really just be throwing stuff around here to have people crashing.
No, I understand. No, we don't want none of that.
But what I will say is that if people do their research, they'll see that many of the Facebook, I guess you can say, higher ups a few years ago, right around the
Mhm.
time where the pandemic started, they many of them defected. They gave up their citizenship, took their billions to some far off place and dipped.
Oh, wow.
But when they do that, they obviously they were seeking citizenship in other countries and or nations. So to do that without doing that first is very can be very problematic, because now you end up as a stateless person. You will not be able to leave the
Mhm.
country, and if you are able to slip out, you will not be able to come back in unless you join the people down at the border and just slip through.
And slip
But
through
you're
and
not
say
going to
I'm
be
accepting asylum.
allowed. Yeah,
Wow.
exactly.
All
You
right.
yeah, that's the only way to get back in. You have no more protections. This is what the prophet was talking about when he said those who are not citizens are what's the quote? He said
Oh,
you'll
undesirables.
you'll suffer uh what does it
The
say? The
mistreatment,
injustices, the mistreatment and
mistreatment that the
injustices
citizens bestow
choose to.
upon you.
There you go. So
Islam.
that's the issue. You no longer have protection. You're like a ghost. You know how they
Mm-hmm.
have those movies like with a secret agent, and then if he gets caught, they don't even they say we don't know who that is,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
They own their own, because a lot of times what they do with those people is they erase their backgrounds. They don't have no ID. They just literally have to make it happen. You know, so that's really not a comfortable place, especially for someone with a family or children. It's just not a good place to be. And
Yeah.
you know,
Islam.
but that's again, we can touch on that some more. Let's
Okay.
look at the term citizen itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So full definition of citizen: an inhabitant of a city or town, especially one entitled to the rights and privileges of a free man. Right. So a non-citizen does not have the rights of a free man. So that's the other issue, right? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
an inhabitant, I'm sorry, a member of a state, a nation, or naturalized person who owes allegiance to a government and is entitled to protection from it. Okay. And this last part is real kind of key here, right? Because it says a naturalized person. You know, there's certain groups out here that say, oh, we can naturalize you or we can nationalize you. And we're
National.
going to
Yeah.
look at those definitions so we can understand. But an organization, a random organization cannot do that. Even the Moorish Science Temple, we don't claim to do that, but we couldn't do that. But there's people out here using our name, our namesake, to say that we can nationalize or we can naturalize you and, and make you a citizen. But it's just game, and it's a lie, and it's a scam because they're going to
Right.
charge you for it, and whatever paperwork they give you is not valid. Period. Anywhere in the world. So, all right. I'm gonna skip this for now. Let me see. Skip a few of these slides. Here's another definition for citizenship. It's the status of a person recognized under the custom of law as being a legal member of a sovereign state or belonging to a nation. All right. So to deal with that, sovereignty is not a singular action. It's a group dynamic.
Yes, it's long.
That's why the leader of the country, the leader of the nation, is considered the sovereign, whether they're a president, an emperor, a king, or whatever. They're the sovereign because the people have decided that this person is who we want to exercise our sovereignty on our behalf. Because people have to go to work, they got stuff to do, children, etc., etc. So they put somebody in place to say, hey, it's going to be your job to exercise our sovereignty and protect our nation's sovereignty. Okay, it's a group dynamic. It is not a singular action. It's not one person that can be a sovereign, right?
Right.
It doesn't work that way. That sovereign person is working on behalf and holding the sovereignty of the people, supposedly honorably. That's can be debated, but the concept is what we're talking about.
Okay.
Right? Not what man actually does with it. So here's what the prophet has to say about that a little bit, because many people, I saw a post the other day I responded to. I had to kind of leave it alone because I could tell that whoever wrote it didn't know what they were talking about, and tries, I guess, is in the belief that Moorish Americans, Moors in general, are not citizens. So here's what Prophet Noble Drawley has to say about that. The citizens of all free national governments, according to their national constitution, are all of one family, bearing one free national name, i.e. American. Those who fail to recognize the free national name of their constitutional government are classed as undesirables, okay, and are subject to all inferior names and abuses, Black, Negro, colored, lynching, etc., right? Abuses and mistreatments that the citizens care to bestow upon them. Because guess what? Many of us didn't know we were citizens, and the Europeans didn't view us as citizens at that time. So we put these two things together. It's like, oh, dang, okay.
So can I speak on something real quick?
Yes.
Because you're bringing this out. So when I was talking to you about that conference in Cuba, it had all to do with trademarks and marks, right? So as I read through it, I was like, boy, Prophet Noble Drawley, no, he was something serious. Because even in that, he was even saying names. He was like, no, he was making sure we was going to be able to always have our name in our nation. That's the one thing I seen out of these documents. He made sure, like, no matter what nobody's saying, if you ain't read through all this stuff, you really have no idea what work that Prophet Noble Drawley really did for the nation. Like, he laid things out so great for us. Like, oh my goodness. When I tell you, y'all, what Sheik Hernandez is saying to y'all is the only way. Because when you go back and you are, like I said, the footprints are clearly cut. You got to know your master went that way. And reading those two things, from the conference, knowing who the president was at that time, knowing who the Secretary of State was at that time, and even knowing what was going down. And don't nobody really even know, because people have done this in history, have passed for being us. We passed for being that, and don't even know what you're looking at for real. But to know that he literally at this conference made sure that no matter what, they couldn't put marks on us, they couldn't put labels on us, they couldn't just name us whatever they wanted to name us.
That's right.
That's what this conference was all about.
That's
So
right.
trademarking didn't even have to do just with the Moorish Science Temple as the religious corporation and the nation. It had to do with us. He made sure we were good.
That's right.
It's
That's
wrong.
right. You did the work. No, you're 100% correct. And I know when you said it like the people that are interested in what you just said, they have to do the research. And it doesn't happen overnight. Like somebody can show you, but the way our lessons are set up, it's like man knows not by being told. And once you start digging and you see these things for yourself, it is so apparent that it's like, wow, we got a lot of work to do to get back to where we were in the 20s. Okay.
Yes.
So let me continue with this one. Where was I at? Mistreatments of citizens care to bestow upon them. And it is a sin for any group of people to violate the national constitutional laws of a free national government and cling to the names and the principles that delude to slavery, i.e. black. So I love my people, but you are not black. I'm sorry. I don't care who scholar. I don't care what your mama said. I don't care what Dr. Umar said. You're not black. I'm sorry. Look at your skin. Like if we look at Latay's shirt and her turban, those are black. Clearly black. Skin clearly brown. We have a very serious sickness as a people. You know, people use the terminology, what they call it, cognitive dissonance. It's so real. It's so real because even a child, some children, when they say that, they just look at their skin and they're trying to understand. You don't spend all this time trying to teach this child what colors are. And now they're looking at their brown skin and saying, okay, I got to call that black.
Right. It's wild. My cousin just said that black is a color. But I wanted to say this too, Dr. Hernandez. The other day, what is his name? The Colt 45 man. I know y'all know his name.
Billy D.
Billy D. Williams was on The View, y'all. He was on The View. This was funny. My mom said, because my mom loves Moorish science now. She's like, Billy D's up there. They're like, well, how was it being a person of color back then? Ooh. He said, she said, he looked around and said, we all got some kind of color to us. He said, so I don't call myself a person of color. So she comes back and says, well, I mean, being the only black, he said, oh, I'm not black either. He said, my skin's brown. He said that on The View. My mom was like, she said, I was like, yes, you are not black. It's wrong. I had to share that with y'all. It was so funny to hear my mom say that. It was like, oh, wow, look at her spit more science.
Yeah. No, I remember to speak to that. I recall the first time I showed my mother, we were having this conversation some years ago. She asked me, she was like, I know you've been saying we're Moors. She was like, can you show me something that, explains that a little bit? And so I pulled up my family's from South Carolina. So I pulled up the old South Carolina Negro codes. And when she read that, she was like, oh my God. Like, I don't know if I have it in these slides, but I could bring it up another time. But it's
all right.
When you read it and it says the term Negro is confined to enslaved Africans. And then it says, i.e., the ancient Berbers. And those that know that Moors and Berber is an interchangeable term. And I actually have a list of the genetic makeup and map of modern, if you will, what they call African Americans, right? Dana Marnici did a post a few weeks back where she listed all of the Berber bloodlines that are contained within our people, because she's one of the ones that also confirms Dr. Noble Drew Ali's, Prophet Noble Drew Ali's teachings, us being Moors. So it's a whole another conversation, but it's
So can I?
sure.
I don't mean to cut your wisdom, but
No,
guys, you guys can look up Dana Marnici. She's on Facebook and everything. This lady is with our history. It's no denying any of. Can't nobody deny anything because this lady comes with straight facts. Like her, she's a beast on that history. She's a
oh
beast. Her name
yeah,
is Dana Marnici.
yep. And you
All
can,
right,
if they want to go a little bit further, they might have to get some of her old stuff. If they look up Dana Reynolds,
Dana Reynolds.
that
All
was her
right, Dana.
pre-marriage name. So some of her stuff from the 70s, the stuff that she was writing for Ivan Van Sertima and other scholars, uh, she was under Dana Reynolds.
All right.
Yep,
Yeah, y'all check her out. She's the truth. The truth. The truth.
for sure, for sure. So let me. I don't want to belabor the point too much, but I still want to harp on this just a little bit, because a lot of Moors and
If y'all got
Moors on
any
the
questions on
outskirts.
TikTok, let me know. Just let me know, and I'll send the question to him. You can ask from TikTok. Okay, go
For
ahead,
sure.
Dr.
So this is just a little more information on citizen. So this says you are a citizen, and just so you know, this is from lessons that I use for my children. We do civics classes at homeschool, and this is from some of our lessons that we've studied. So this says, you may not go around thinking of yourself as a citizen, but you are one. A citizen is a member of a community who has the rights and responsibilities, right? Who has rights and responsibilities. A community is a group of people who share an environment. The word citizen can have two meanings: people who live in a certain place or are a member of a certain community, or people who are legally recognized by a nation as owing loyalty to that nation and being entitled to protection by that nation. Okay. Every day you are part of several different layers of community. That means you have many different levels of citizenship. At each level, you have rights and responsibilities. And with that, I just wanted to be clear. So most people, when they tell you there's two words for citizen, they'll try to use a lowercase c and an uppercase c, and they'll try to tell you that one of them is actually like a what they call a subject,
Mm.
and they try to put us under that terminology of subject. But if you do a little more research, you'll see that that's not the case, unless you're maybe dealing with a monarchy and you got some king ruler who's been ruling, his family's been ruling for the last 1,000 years. Then yeah, you're a subject. But we're not subjected to that, so that does not apply to us. So I wanted to clarify that, because a lot of people are still teaching that. Now let's look briefly at the definition of a nation. Okay, a nation, people, tribe, kin, genus, class, flock, is a large group or collective of people with common characteristics attributed to them, including language, traditions. This says mores, but this term mores means customs, habitus or habits, and ethnicity. By comparison, a nation is more impersonal, abstract, and overtly political than an ethnic group. It is cultural, political community that has become conscious of its autonomy, unity, and particular interests. Now, hopefully you guys heard that. So let's look at what a national is, right? We hear this term national a lot, and we want to kind of clear this up a little bit, right? So a national, of or relating to a nation, common to or characteristic of a whole nation. This policy may have been, for example, this policy may have been in the national interest. Okay. Second definition, a citizen of a particular country. And let's look at that. So the second definition of national says a citizen. Remember, a lot of these guys are saying we're not citizens, we're nationals.
Uh-huh.
This says a national is a citizen of a particular country, typically entitled to hold that country's passport.
Hmm.
Okay, let's dig a little bit deeper. No, you can stop me at any time.
Y'all have any questions right now? We can stop him at any moment if you do. This is Sheik Dr. Hernandez Ill. He's over on we're on StreamYard, Facebook, and TikTok. So I'm coming from TikTok, but he's over on StreamYard on Facebook,
So we're
YouTube.
on YouTube too. So if they want to pull up on YouTube, they
Yeah,
can.
you can pull up on YouTube if you want to. If you feel you want to look at the slides, you guys can pull up the YouTube
Under the Moorish diaspora.
under the Moorish diaspora on YouTube, if you would rather do it that way. And then you can see all the slides and everything. And then also subscribe to the channel. You can always go back and look so you can, go into the slides and see what they are and all of that. Because it'll be there. It's recorded.
Yep.
Does he know a Moses Ill? You know a Moses Ill?
Not specifically. I may. That name
He
doesn't
may.
ring a bell.
He may. Don't ring a bell, but he may know him. It's long.
You should ask him if he knows me.
This is my friend from Colorado. He's asking. That's not his name.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Yeah, ask Moses Ill if he knows Hernandez Ill.
Uh-huh.
Gabriel Hernandez Ill, Sheik Gabriel.
Okay.
All
So
right.
this slide right here is the 1-2 punch here. Okay, this is the knockout for all of those who are claiming national versus citizen. All right, and we just discussed what a citizen was. We discussed what a national is. Now, are you a citizen or a national? Let's read and see.
Okay.
All United States citizens are nationals, but not all U.S. nationals are United States citizens.
Wow.
Now let's read a little bit further so we can dissect that a little bit. A U.S. national is a person born in or having ties with an outlying possession of the United States, which is, as of 2005, only American Samoa and the Swain Islands. I believe Guam is also in that. Additionally, it also includes those individuals born abroad to 2 U.S. national parents, or those born abroad to 1 alien parent and 1 U.S. national parent. Additionally, there is a residency requirement for the parents of the child prior to birth in order to transmit U.S. nationality. Okay. Let's go a little bit further. I, the prophet, was prepared by the great God Allah to warn my people to repent from their sinful ways and go back to the state of mind of their forefathers' divine and national principles, that they will be law abiders and receive their divine right as citizens according to the free national constitution that was prepared for all free national beings. They are to claim their own free national name and religion. So that being said, that whole national thing is it's deep, but it's not as deep as people want to make it. And it's clear that a lot of people have a misconception about citizenship, nationality, nationhood, being a national. So we just wanted to touch on these things, and feel free to, check out these slides, read them, go study them, figure them out, so that you have clarity on these topics, and so that people can't just beguile you very easily because they're slick with the tongue. All you got to do is pull up the definitions and say, does that line up with this? And ask them directly. Say, this is what I found, and see what they have to say. Typically, they're gonna disappear. Now, if they acknowledge it, that just means that they are wise and just didn't have the information that they needed. Okay. If they
Right.
don't, that means they're probably hiding something, and they feel like they're above reproach and that you can't ask them any questions or you can't correct them because they're the all-knowing. I'm not above reproach. The only reason I have this information is because I dug for it. I had a lot of misinformation at one point, but I was willing to go and study and see the errors that I may have been making or I may have picked up from someone else. So I'm able to, anything that doesn't fit, doesn't apply, I get rid of it. If it's
Islam.
fake, if it's fallacious, I'm not going to teach it. I'm not going to deal with it. So
Nah,
that's why.
Islam, and
Go ahead.
Islam. Islam, that's why I really do respect you so much, because one thing I could say about Sheikh Hernandez, if you have a question, and even if he doesn't know the answer, he's not going to try to come up with an answer either. He'll just be like, let me check more into that for you. But he's always been very upfront with me, always been very comfortable to ask him any question I might have. And because I did have a lot of misinformation coming into this thing. And so, like he said, study and showing yourself approved if you're really interested in it, you really want to dig deep into who you are and whose you are. Like, this is the way that it really has to go. Because as he said, he didn't just come upon it and nobody just handed it to him. And that goes the same for me. No one just handed it and was like, here you go. Even with him, he's like, hey, got to dig deeper. He'll give me the surface, but then it's up to me to go and dig deeper into it to really get the understanding for myself. And I don't have superior understanding of anything, but I just know these lessons have helped me. So it's long.
Islam. Now, the next thing I wanted to touch on a little bit, because to stay in that same vein, is the
Mm-hmm.
term nationality, right? And we did deal briefly with nationality, but I wanted to touch on these other two definitions so that people have an even clearer example. And I believe this third one is going to definitely touch on, really, I guess, elucidate us as a nation of Moors, as Moorish Americans specifically. So nationality, here's one definition from Merriam-Webster. Let's see, a group of people who share the same history, traditions, and language, and who usually live together in a particular country. The fact or status of being a member or citizen of a particular nation. Okay. Now let's look at this next one. That quality. So, what is nationality? That quality or character which arises from the fact of a person's belonging to a nation or state. Nationality determines the political status of the individual. The political status. So this doesn't mean you can go into court and talk about your nationality. This is dealing with politics specifically, not law or right or breaking laws, etc.
Right. So let me say, I need to piggyback off of that
Sure.
to my people on TikTok, because I know y'all see plenty of those videos when people are going in court and they've broken the law, but they still go in court and talk about, but I'm a Moorish American, I'm sovereign. But that doesn't, you still, as a Moorish American, as a sovereign, you still have to abide by the laws of the government. You can't feel like you could be a lawbreaker and just go up in there and say, oh, because I'm a Moor, I could break all the laws. No, you still have to abide by the laws of the government and the said government. That's
That's
why
right.
I read that Constitution, because there are instructions and there are certain ways that we have to live. You just ain't, just because you out in the street and put a fez on doesn't make you one. You got to come into this temple and learn these lessons to
That's right.
really understand what your nationality really means and what you can do for your nation. Not
That's
even
right.
necessarily what your nation is doing for you, but what you're doing for the nation.
Right.
Islam, do you guys
We
have
got a whole
questions?
we got a whole program. We just don't have enough people to run all of the slots. You
Islam.
know.
Okay, hold on, Dr. Hernandez. We have a
Sure.
question. Islam,
Sure.
go ahead. He can hear you.
Videos out about people about Moors doing the sovereign, about laws being broke. I didn't hear. I didn't.
Oh, you didn't hear me. I said, I know you've probably seen videos where you'll see Moors go in court, but they've broken the law. They've like robbed the bank. Like they've done something they had no business doing to be in court. But why are you in court after breaking the law talking about, but I'm a Moor and I'm sovereign? That has nothing to do with what you did, though.
Yeah, because firstly, they're not sovereign. That's the first
They're
thing.
not sovereign.
So that's
right.
a
You can't
lie.
be a sovereign person.
And once you use language like that in a court of law these days, they're more likely going to get the bailiff. They're going to start calling for backup. They've basically have since I think 2005, the all of the courts across this country, including the FBI and all of the police organizations, they do classes on this stuff. They are not ignorant of what's going on anymore. So when you start talking that talk, they're calling backup. They have, if you go in a certain direction, they have orders to shoot to kill anybody who's talking that sovereign talk.
Because you can only be, like he just said, you can only be a sovereign nation. You cannot be a sovereign person. That's not individual. That has to be collectively done together.
It's a group
so
dynamic.
That's why,
It's a group dynamic.
It's a group dynamic.
That's right. So if you want some more information,
Dr. Hernandez, what'd you say?
I never paid no attention to it because you hear so much about it, and it's like so many different avenues. Like you was just explaining, you hear Moors going into court saying this, that, and the other. When I first got introduced, to the temple, you would hear stuff. It was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and leave that sovereign alone and focus on what it is that I need to. That was the first time that I heard about it. It was that sovereign.
That's fine.
All right. I would have heard that from someone outside of when I first was introduced to the religion.
Islam.
Yeah, that's called discernment. See, that's his higher self telling him that don't even sound right. You know what I mean? And again, we got people out here teaching it to lay persons as if it's an actual thing. This is literally fantasy land, fairy tale stuff. It doesn't exist, especially not in the way that they're expressing it. It was something I was going to say to what you were saying. I missed my point, but I'll come back to it in just a second. And I'm going to finish reading this definition one more time so we have full clarity on this. So what is nationality? That quality or character which arises from the fact of a person's belonging to a nation or state. Nationality determines the political status of the individual, especially with reference to allegiances, while domicile determines his true civil status. Nationality arises either by birth or by naturalization, according to Savigny, which is blood. Nationality is also used as opposed to territoriality for the purpose of distinguishing the case of a nation having no national territory. Example, the Jews. Okay. Another example is Moorish Americans. Any questions? You good on that one?
Any questions, guys? No.
Okay, good. So I'm going to go ahead just a little bit and just touch on what Marcus Garvey had to say about it. And then we can just open up for questions and we can build. So Marcus Garvey had to say on the topic, and this is why we reference the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey as our harbinger, because he knew what was going on. He said, he's quoted as saying, the Negro wants a nationality equal to that of the French, the English, the Japanese, the Chinese, the Irish, etc. Right? So he had clarity. Although he was identifying himself as a Negro at that time, he didn't know what to call himself. You know what I'm saying? So he's saying we're in need of this nationality. And there's actually another quote, I don't have it on in these slides, where he is basically foretelling Prophet Noble Drew Ali's movement. So this quote and that quote really are almost like eerie when you read them in reference to the Moorish Science Temple of America. But yeah, anybody can ask any questions. I'm gonna slip through a couple of these slides, see if there's any other things I wanted to. Oh, here we go. So to what we were just talking about, nationality does not determine status at law. Again, nationality does not determine status at law, nor is it a determining factor of how laws are applied to certain individuals. Now I remember what I was going to say when that popped up. Is that so? A lot of when they go in court and they're saying, "Oh, I'm a Moor," this, that, and the third, right? This kind of just knocks that all the way down, right? So again, nationality does not determine status at law, nor is it a determining factor of how laws are applied to certain individuals. That's why these guys never went in court. Excuse me. The group known as Murakush, they're a bunch of scammers. They've been scamming for years. Okay. I mean, they've been scamming the community out their shoes and socks, at least since 2010 that I know about. Okay. And they keep a very low profile these days. I've had a few run-ins with them. I actually had a run-in with one of their flunkies maybe 2 or 3 days ago. I saw him commenting on some stuff because I did a whole demonstration on their movement. But when you type in Moors in court, that's who you see online. Okay? Those guys, in the demonstration that I did, I also showed it. It's on our page, Moors Diaspora. I show where they lost all 19 cases. They had some bogus law firm, like they used to call it indigenous aboriginal law firm or something like that.
Oh, wow.
And this is before all this, it's already happened. I just seen stuff come and come again. It's like interesting to watch the hustle and the scam just continue to float around and reinvent itself. But these guys lost every case. They got 1 million views, right? They got battery all in people's back, but it's only a clip of the court case. So you can go and find the whole thing. There's like several videos. You have to watch them all together. They lost right there. And if you go and you can pull up all of their stuff. You go online. If you know how to do a little bit of research, you can pull up their whole court history. They lost every case, every single case, on their behalf, on the people that was following them behalf. And then when you read the court's decision, at the bottom of the case, you can read the judge's notes and the judge's decision, and it's just bad. They obviously, the judge and the state of New Jersey has recognized them as scammers and X, Y, and Z. It's pretty damning. So if anybody wants to watch that, feel free. It's a great little piece I put together. Oh, here we go. So nationalize. So some of us may have heard this term nationalize, right? For whatever reason, different groups attempt to use this as a terminology that means that when you come into the temple, like, we proclaim our nationality, right? It means we live it, we say it aloud, we live it. We're not trying to alter anything on paper as far as, like, we're already born here. Like, we talked about what a citizen by definition is. So when the prophet says by you being born here doesn't make you a citizen, he's talking about the deeper part of citizenship, which we cover, the rights and responsibilities, right? So that's what makes you full citizen. Being born here, technically you are a citizen. But if you don't understand your rights and responsibilities as a citizen, you're not in full capacity of your citizenship, basically. Okay, so that's what that really is getting at. But when we talk about nationalize, right, let's look at what nationalize actually means, because there's Moorish groups out here saying, oh, pay us $250 and we'll nationalize you. Okay, it says transfer a major branch of industry or commerce from private to state ownership or control. Are they trying to transfer you to state ownership? You know what I mean? And then it says make distinctively national, give a national character to. No one can do that for you. We already talked about the definition of nationality, which I'm going to bring it up real quick so I can touch on that specific point. It says the quality or character which arises from the fact of a person's belonging to a nation, right? So the only thing that can nationalize you is you just being born and being you.
You
You can,
being you.
in that particular form of the definition, right? And then let's look at nationalization, because you'll hear this one as well. And again, it says the transfer of major branch of industry or commerce from private to state ownership or control. For example, the nationalization of the railroads. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now here's an example. So I won't say any names. I think I've already said their name on here. So I'll just say that because I don't want nobody to get in trouble. I'm not advertising this. I'm showing you which way not to go.
Yes, Islam. Which way
Okay.
not to go?
This says here, so you can buy their legal opinions for $39.99, and then you can correct your status with our nationalization and privatization process for only $499.99. So $500, you can get a pretty piece of paper that does absolutely nothing for you,
Nothing for you. Islam.
but make you look crazy. 9 times out of 10, when they have you fill out these paperwork, and this is why I say all of these people who promote this are actual government or some type of an agent against you. They are definitely COINTELPRO all day, because these guys make you put your name, your fingerprint, all your vital information on these documents and send it to every alphabet group across the country. Most people have you do 17 versions of the document just so you can send it to FEMA, to FBI, to all of them. You whatever acronym you can come up with, that's where they have you send it. Think of 17. Can you even think of 17 off the top of your head? Guess what?
No.
These guys know the 17 by heart, and they know the address, and they can send your document right there. And that's what they're gonna do for you for $500. Put you on a whole terrorist list.
Terrorist list. I was make you be on the paper terrorist list with the rest of them. And you just paid to be on there. That's like crazy. So when you're saying that, so when you just defined nationalization and it said the control, you didn't say control of property, like that is that right there stuck out so much to me, because this is why they do this, because they constantly want the control over you or want you to become like pretty much keeping you enslaved. Now I can see how you can put yourself back into slavery pretty much by following things that ain't even really what it is.
That's right. That's right. And people are happily paying this every day, every single day. They won't come into the temple, learn the lessons. They won't support the temple or pay dues to help us build the nation, but they'll go out here and drop 500 or 1,500 or 5,000 for some fugazi, goofy paperwork, so they can show people and say, "Look what I did." But they don't really even know what they did. They are so jammed up and don't even know it. And I've seen it over and over. The stuff I've seen in this movement, people falling for this stuff. I've seen the elders fall for it. Young people. It's sad.
Yeah.
So that being said, notice that thing said privatization, right? So one of the other little catchphrases or things that people will try to press is the whole private side versus public side. You heard that?
Yes, I have. Public and private.
Now, do you? I don't know if we've had that conversation yet, but are you familiar with that? And like, do you know the difference and what's what when it comes to that?
Public is like a celebrity. Private is just me.
Thank you. So
that's how I look at it. Public is a celebrity. You're known in the public.
That you said it perfectly. So we're talking about celebrities, professional players, movie stars, and even public officials.
Public officials as well. All right.
So if you're a member of the government, you've been an elected member of the government, your life is for public display.
Oh, Islam. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Hold on 1 second. Can we? I'm not talking bad about nobody. But
Uh-huh.
this is wow. This is making so much sense now with the case that's going on with the district attorney here in Georgia, y'all.
Oh yeah.
Like everything you just said, because they're like, people are on TikTok. That's private. That's private. No, but
Nope.
she's a public official, so her life is public.
Her stuff is not private. Sorry.
Yes.
Nothing.
Yes.
Nothing.
Yes.
Notice how when they get outed, and they go all into their personal stuff. And
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, they
dirty
all in
laundry.
her personal right now, Dr. Hernandez. They're so in her personal business.
That's right. Because she's not a private citizen.
Ooh. I'm saying over here. Islam.
And
All
there
right.
and there's no paperwork to make you a private citizen. So that anybody selling you that is an absolute liar. And if they have a problem with it, just bring them here.
I know that's right.
My scimitar is flaming hot and extremely sharp.
I love it.
So I take heads if they want to offer them.
If they went off of their heads, yes, Islam.
That's
I
right.
got
But on the chopping block, I'm gonna take it.
you.
And I'm gonna hold it up as a trophy and show everybody.
All right.
So it says here, because we didn't even read it. I just asked you, right? So it says a
Yeah.
citizen who does not hold any official or public position.
Hmm.
Okay. And it continues to go. So here's the naturalization process, which is the proper way for a non-citizen or non-national to become such. Okay. That's through the process of naturalization. And let me say this first, is that naturalization can't be done through some group or organization or entity. It can only be done through a government, an actual government, whether it's United States, whether it's Chile, whether it's Argentina or China or whatever. If you're trying to go there and pursue citizenship, you want dual citizenship in Ghana, this is what you have to do in Ghana. If you want to, wherever you want to go, this is part of that process. If you're from Mexico and you want U.S. citizenship, this is the process that you go through. So naturalization is the legal process through which a foreign citizen or national can become a U.S. citizen. In order to be naturalized, an applicant must first be qualified to apply for citizenship. Then he or she must complete an application, attend an interview, and pass an English and civics test.
Mm.
They got to pass a civics test.
Oh, I was just about to say, wait a minute. It says civics test, so you got to know the law.
They got to know their rights and responsibilities as citizens.
Wow, y'all, that's crazy. And I'm just seeing that, like, okay, as long as I've looked at that naturalization, that just came out to me. That just stuck out. Islam.
Yeah,
All right.
Islam.
Islam.
So again, questions are, floor is open. I could keep on going. I know you have places. I know you got places to be. So we can.
Yes, Islam. So y'all, the floor is open for questions. If you have questions, I just want to make a comment because I'm telling y'all, I could read these things over and over, but this is why studying is so important, because things will come out that I didn't even notice. I did not notice that said civics test. I didn't notice it. But I'm so grateful you pointed that out, because now that has a in my mind to always look for that now. Civics test. What does that mean? Because I feel like they test the ones that have passed these tests, kind of test me on some stuff, and I'm able to really see where they're coming from instead of taking offense to anything that they're trying to come at me for. So Islam. You guys have any questions over here on TikTok? He's open to any questions y'all might have. Comments, suggestions?
I was just going to say, because we talked quite a bit, and if you ever hear anything ill coming from my mouth, the only thing I would ask you to do is give me the love that I need.
Islam. All right.
To make sure that I stay on track.
Islam.
See, that's wisdom right there.
Islam.
That's wisdom. Because I stand on the same square. Like if I'm in error, just show me. I'll correct it instantly.
Islam.
I'll make amends if I'm wrong.
Like if I got
I'll make the correction.
Let me know.
Islam.
Islam.
He said, "Don't let me go out there." My cousin says she questions those who do take the test and pass.
She says she questions them.
She questions them.
But they should, because a lot of people are coming over to get that citizenship because there's a lot of definitely some positive things that come with United States citizenship. So people are run. It's funny how our people are trying to run from it because we don't realize what we actually have. That's why people are trying to rush that border to get it. You see all the money they're giving these people as they come in through. And even before that, for a new national, someone who's been naturalized, to access credit and funds is so easy. Once they get here and get that social, they run it up. And then they teach their people how to do it as well.
To run it up.
You look at who I'm gonna use for an example, the Vietnamese. So this is one example I've seen for years. The Vietnamese come through, they get their citizenship, they hire some young girls who are trying to get their citizenship, have them doing all the nails, right? The one who shows the most business acumen, she's tapped to be next to take over that shop, while the lady who owns that shop opens up another one.
Yeah, the shop.
So forth.
That's how the beauty supplies work. The beauty supply work the same exact way.
That's right. So, these are things that our Mexican brothers and sisters, they come in, they get their social, they go set up their business. It's going to be Jose's plumbing, Jose's painting, all of the above, right? Now they got a fleet of trucks that they got through their business credit that they set up right there at the Carniceria over on the corner, because they got a whole business suite inside of there that helps them do and go through all of that process. Now they got their own business. Now they hire the new guys that come in, teach them the trade. Now those guys got the trade and they give them the game. Go on to the Carniceria, get your trucks. We got too much business. We can't even cover it. We need some more. They're building a network. And what else are they doing? They're engaging in civics.
Yeah. What are you about to say, cousin?
Texas, California, Mexicans are in office. They're running for office. Somebody speaking? Sorry about that.
My cousin, yes. So we're the Mexicans over here. So let me talk about that. But Rachel, tell them what you just said, because this is what Mexicans do. Grew up in there.
I said, and we all live in the same house until we build the block.
That's right. I learned it years ago. I've been in the restaurant business for a long time, and my Mexican brothers was putting me on, showing me how they build. And I was like, y'all do what? It's like, yeah. There's 10 of us. We stay in this 2-bedroom, and he said every month one of us pay the rent. That means you get to save up your money for the whole year, minus whatever you eating and the bills that y'all splitting. But somebody will pay the bills for that month themselves, and then the next person will pay the bills the next month, and the next person will pay the bills the next month.
That's economics, man.
You talk about a susu. Come on.
That's how we all go forward together.
That's right. That is 100% correct.
I do want to touch something with my friend NWA. You say Ethiopians, they have families and want better. I just want to say this: the Ethiopian is still us. That's still us. We all.
like with them coming over, taking all the resources away. He was speaking about taking the resources up here in Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
It's impossible. It's impossible for brothers to get any resources because of the Hispanics, because of the Ethiopians. They're getting pushed in. There's this female I know. She's 27. She has 6 kids, and her rent is $50 a month, and she just keeps having kids because she knows that's what she's supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
She's pregnant right now, 4 months pregnant, and she's like, you know what? And she's not bragging about it, but in a sense, she kind of is. She works at the thrift store. It's like, and I'm thinking like, well, that's a cold lick. I tell you, I was out there. I'm busting back and forth to work. I just got out of jail. It was like, what did I do to get in there? I got evicted. I ain't done nothing. I didn't get in trouble. It was like, but it was easy for her to, steal all the resources. Now my credit's messed up. But, what I'm saying? In order for me to get through the next day, I got to do what I got to do. Not that I hate it. It's just a struggle. It's either this or it's going to lay down and die.
Yeah, you're not going to
do that. When it honestly comes down to it. However, what I'm saying? This is just how it is. It ain't going to last forever.
It's not. But the one thing I can say is when I'm hearing you say what you say, Mexican, Ethiopian, they have a nation. This is why things are a lot. Because see, when we delude to these names that delude to slavery. So it puts us in a status of slavery. So that's why we're kind of like as if we don't have no citizenship. Like we're undesirable because we don't have a nation. A nation can't tell me where you see, just when Marcus Garvey said, we want the same as the Chinese, the German, and all of these other people. When you look at them, Chinese got China, Germans got Germany, Japanese got Japan, Black what? Excuse me, no land that says that we belong to that. Like there's no land that says this is the Black land and this is where we go. But everyone else has their nation. These are nations of people that are able to come together, and the government recognizes nations. That's why I say you can't be a sovereign person. Impossible.
That's right.
Yeah, no, you're 1,000% correct. I think when I left out, like with the Ethiopians, like when you were speaking also about like the Hispanics as far as them taking the resources, and I spoke about like that female.
Mm-hmm.
Then I had brought up my situation. I want to put more effort into me wanting it because I feel that my situation is more of a concern, yet still she has that, I'm saying, her situation. And so it's like they have families too, so it's kind of like it's a push and go. Yes, it makes it a real sensitive situation. Because it's like I always got to take a step back. I get approved for housing, and then this situation comes up where a single mother, Hispanic, with 2 kids, and she knows she can get housing. She's gonna say, okay, well, I'm gonna get another kid, and then her baby daddy come in. It's a whole BS because I know how the system works. Because if I was gonna do it, I know how I would do it. And because of their citizenship, being able to come over here, they get more of an advantage.
What could you say to that, Sheik Hernandez?
Yeah, what I'll say to that is that I can feel where the brother's coming from. Let me just touch on one thing, and then I'm gonna go into the advantages, if you will.
All right.
Is that so? When we say that, let's deal with the Ethiopian thing real quick, because the term Ethiopian is also a term that alludes to slavery. This was also a European term that was used to label our people. Although today Ethiopia is a country and a nation, historically Ethiopia never existed. There's not even a people in history known as Ethiopians. But if you go into history, you will find that Ethiopians is the same exact as Moors, just as they try to say blacks or Moors, or Moor just means black. It's not really that cut and paste. That's not what it is. But that's a whole nother linguistic conversation, but I just wanted to touch on that briefly. So it doesn't matter which country you come from, whether it is Ethiopia or Mexico, or if you were born here, all of those I guess you can say, benefits that exist for all of us. Now, women in general have access to the resources that you just mentioned more than men do, because men, first of all, we haven't written legislation that gives us the same access to these things. And those who wrote the legislation realize that women, if they are alone, do need that extra assistance, especially if they're with the children. So that's why the laws are written that way. But again, legislation can be altered, legislation can be written, and you can write something that's more favorable for you. And again, that's a whole nother topic or class. But what I wanted to say is that the same thing that these people can get, you can also apply for. There's nothing stopping you from applying for Section 8 or food stamps or WIC if you need those things. But what I will say is that those people who are taking advantage have been instructed on how to take advantage of those things. So that's why you have in our communities, sisters, and families who have been living under a certain condition, let's say uh, food stamps and the whole WIC program, etc., for the last 4, 5 generations, then that's what they've been taught. And so therefore those sisters know how to use that system just as good as any Mexican or Ethiopian or anybody else who's taking advantage. As far as that's concerned, like your credit and things like that, you have full access to, you can change all of that, brother. No matter what your credit score is, what you done, you can fix it all. It just takes a little bit of time and effort. The things that you're looking for and the things that you want out of life are there for you. You literally have to make a decision. So this is where we now we're going into the workshop of the mind. You have to be strong enough in your mind to know what it is that you want first, so that you can decide on what it is you want, and then you go out and get it. You go and create it. There's nothing else for you, brother. Don't look for the handouts. They are there if you need them. I know plenty of brothers that get food stamps. They have no children, that have children, but you can go out here and get it, brother. I mean, you sound strong. I don't know you personally, so I can't say physically what you're able to do, but there's nothing stopping you, brother. There's no law stopping you from getting what you need to get. There's nothing stopping you. There's no boogeyman. There's no European out here. There's no Mexican that can stop you from getting what you know is yours. You just got to go out here and get it. It's
That's
simple as
wrong.
that, and I'm not saying that, you know, to try to be any type of way harsh. I just want to speak to you man to man and just let you know that when you want something, you got to go and get it. But first, you have to decide on what it is that you want. Then you go and get it. You set up a plan, write a plan out. If you once you decide, write your plan out. Figure out what every step you need to do to get what it is you want. Even if it is food stamps, make the call. Go down to the office. Tell them what you need. Tell them your situation. They cannot deny you. You are a citizen. So though, just how the Mexican go and get them stamps, you can go and get them too. It may be harder for you to get the Section 8, but guess what? You can get it too. You need to get yourself on that list. If you need housing and all of that, you're a citizen. You have access to it, and they cannot deny you. And if they start to deny you, you can use the words that I'm telling you. I am a citizen. You can't deny me this. Show me where I'm not allowed to apply for these benefits. Now, you may make too much money to qualify for the benefits. I don't know. I don't know your personal situation, but nothing is stopping you from going to get it if that's what it is that you want. Nothing is stopping you from going to get your credit. Ethiopians and Mexicans are not taking your resources. If they are citizens, those resources are also theirs. And citizens have a right to these resources, period, point blank. Most of these people from this country do not come from here originally. So everyone has equal footing, brother. And I know sometimes it may feel or seem like it's not, but that's not the case. I can tell you from personal experience. I personally years ago went from a less than, almost a 400 credit score to almost an 800 credit score. So I know from personal experience that if you put your mind to something, you can achieve it. I went from working in restaurants for years to owning my own restaurants. But it was a decision I had to make for myself. I had to put a plan together and make it happen. Simple as that. Anything else, is just guesswork and so it's really more about having direction, clear direction about what you want in your life and making a decision and doing it. Nothing is stopping. I'll leave it there. Islam.
I want to say this. So to piggyback off of you. So my friend Phrase, the one that transcended, there's a video his son put up. And this was always the way he was anyway. He was just always like that. He says, I'm 44 years old. I probably got 30 more summers to be here on this planet. He said, and do you think I'm about to stick here complaining? Well, he said working for somebody else because he never wanted, he just wanted to work for somebody first. He was like, Dame Dash, really? He was like, no. He said, because if you believe in God and when you go to heaven, you don't think he's going to be mad at you because he gave you a talent and you didn't use that talent. You telling me you came to heaven and you talking about you was broke. How was you broke and I gave you a talent? This is a video he did. And I'm just like, boy, that sounds so much like him because he's so right. He's like, I'm just not going to waste my time working for another person. I need to work on me and make it for me because he gave me a talent and I need to use that talent. Or when I go to heaven, he going to be mad at me and be like, well, you was broke because you wanted to be broke. I gave you the talent. We got these talents. We need to use these talents. We need to stop sitting on these talents, complaining about who needs to give us what. No, everything is available to us. All we have to do is go get it.
That's right. If nothing else, go and get you a case of waters for $3-4 and go stand on the corner. Sell them $1. That's $24. Do that 4 times. You got $100, brother, for the day. That's more than most jobs are paying people. And all you invested was $16. But technically you only invested $4 originally, and then you was able to just re-up. That's what these young, I don't know what's going on in Colorado, but here in Atlanta, the young kids, they hustling. They out here getting hundreds of dollars every
water
day.
Boys ain't playing. Them water boys don't play.
Just on water. So it ain't even got to be alkaline. It's just you stand on the exit, selling waters for $1, brother. $2 if you want. Make $50 a case. They charging $5 at the ballpark.
Yeah, they is for a bottle.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm throwing that out there just to let you know, brother, nothing is holding you. You know what I'm saying? You told us to address you in a certain way. So I feel comfortable enough to share this with you since you said it like that, again, nothing's holding you back. No one can hold you back but yourself. Okay. And these people coming from other countries, they ain't taking your resources. These resources are for the citizenry. If you're a citizen, you have access, period. Nothing can stop you. If you need research, use the libraries. Go get on the computer. If that's again, you have full access to this. You have rights to it. But, again, I'll leave it there.
Islam. Anyone else have any more questions or comments before we close out the meeting? No? All right. Man, this was a great class. Sheik Hernandez L, thank you so much for the civics. We will be back here again next Sunday for sure. We try to do Friday, but a lot of times I'm working or Dr. Hernandez is working. So it's always Friday might be a little iffy. But we're really going to work our hardest to come on here Friday or until we can find someone that could actually, start the meeting for us on Friday until we're able to get in position. I just don't want Friday to get so late because it's usually 7 is when everyone's doing their classes. So I don't want it to get too late, but I will keep you all abreast on everything. You have something to say, Dr. Hernandez, before we close?
Oh, no, I was just agreeing with you.
All right. So you guys, I have to close the meeting out in the proper way because we have a proper way of closing our meetings. So I will stand. 2 fingers on the right, 5 on the left. With my heels touching one another. Islam, Islam, Islam. Repeat after me. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7. And love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Can we stand as we recite our Moorish American prayer? We turn to the east as going within. We put up 2 fingers on the right, 5 on the left, with our heels touching one another, standing on our square. Repeat after me. Allah,
Allah,
the Father of the universe,
Father of the universe,
the Father of love,
Father of love,
truth,
truth,
peace,
peace,
freedom,
freedom,
and justice.
and justice.
Allah is my protector,
Allah is my protector,
my guide,
my guide,
and my salvation,
and my salvation,
by night and by day,
by night and by day.
through his holy prophet,
Through his holy prophet,
Drew Ali.
Drew Ali.
Amen.
Amen.
Islam Moors, I love you guys. Have an amazing Sunday. Peace and love. I look forward to seeing you guys over here on TikTok. I'll come on your lives and do all that. But Islam to my Facebook family, YouTube family, Instagram, StreamYard. Islam. Have a great day.